Now I gotta be honest with you guys, I was super excited about making this review because on paper, the Lotto football boots in this box should be the best boots that they've made in the last 10 years. And in a lot of ways, in most ways, I would say they are. Unfortunately, they have one fatal flaw that really lets down the package as a whole. Nonetheless, I'm going to make my review because I still think they're really interesting. And the boots that I'm talking about are these guys right here. The brand new Lotto Maestro 4100, which is their new top of the line boot in the Maestro line with a knitted upper, a really unique construction, a new sole plate and stud pattern, and honestly, a bunch of impressive tech all let down by a very wonky heel design. And it's super unfortunate because one of the main criticisms that I often see whenever I review boots outside of the big brands is that people don't like the way that they look, but honestly, especially in this launch color, if you like neon yellow, this design looks fantastic. Statistically, this is on par with pretty much anything from the big brands, but like I said, it does have one major issue that I'm going to explain in more detail in today's video. Nonetheless, they're really interesting football boots, and I'm hoping that Lotto can improve with the Maestro 5100 should they choose to continue this line. So if you're interested in learning more about them, including how they fit and feel on feet, please stick around, watch the entire review, and if you are interested in a pair for yourself, I'll leave a little pop-up on screen, or you can click the first link down below. That's going to take you to the review page on my website, where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal retail price, although do keep in mind they're only available in Europe. Retail is about 180 euros, but you can get them on sale right now for about 143, which is roughly about the same in US dollars. As always, if you guys do end up enjoying this video and want to continue seeing more reviews of football boots from some of the lesser known brands, don't forget to support this one with a like and let me know specifically what you'd like to see down below in the comment section. And of course, if you're new here watching for the first time and don't want to miss out on weekly content on everything football boots, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. Now, as for the boots themselves, like I mentioned, they are technically very impressive. And if you're familiar with the Maestro series, I have reviewed one or two on the channel over the last couple of years. There are some carryover elements, but I think this is by far the highest quality variation that Lotto have put out. The highlight feature is the Control Fit 3D knit upper, which as you can see features this honeycomb knit pattern that flows throughout the entire forefoot and toe box area and then spans pretty much the entire medial side of the boot as well as you get right to the heel, where on the lateral side of the upper, the midfoot is more of like a textile mesh type material that's very thin, but does allow for a lot of extra structure. So you get this nice locked in responsive sensation, despite this front part of the upper being so soft. And I feel like I've compared so many football boots to an all-time classic, but honestly, this super soft knitted upper with the honeycomb mesh type pattern really reminds me of the Nike Skin upper found on the iconic and classic Nike Hypervenom Phantom 1. It's so soft, it offers this premium touch on the ball and really does offer one of the most sock-like sensations you can get from an upper on any football boot, period. They did a great job. This is the nicest non-leather upper I think I've ever seen out of the Lotto brand. Flowing up the middle of the foot, it does feature a one-piece upper construction, which again, just is really well done. You can see it's an elasticated knit material that flows in between this kind of half H or this U pattern that you have as a structure element on the lateral side, and it flows directly into the collar, really giving it this very modern aesthetic. Again, this is a surprisingly technical boot where honestly, I think if you put some Adidas stripes or a Nike swoosh on this boot, people wouldn't be suspicious of them. I'm not sure that they're quite as technical as some of the Nike products, but it's extremely well done from a brand that once upon a time was kind of at the peak of innovation in the football boot industry, but as of late, they've kind of made simpler things that don't really look like they're on the same level as the bigger brands, but these definitely meet that standard. Dual lace hole setup. The lacing system is pushed slightly to the lateral side. You have a little bit of a tongue extension piece at the front, but it's an elasticated knit, so it moves with your ankle and kind of just molds to the shape of that area of your foot quite nicely. It's not until we get to the back of the boot where you'll notice that it's a little bit unusual as far as the design is concerned, where you just have this kind of knitted material along the front part. It's almost a little bit of a V cut, and then it looks pretty normal at the back, but it's not normal. It features what they call Adapto tech, which, to make a long story short, it sucks. And I want to be clear, because as much as I don't like the way that they've done the heel on this boot, they're far from unwearable. You can definitely manage wearing the Lotto Maestro 4100, and I think there's a lot of people that will actually really like them. The tech itself and the concept is actually a pretty good idea, and not that dissimilar from what we've seen previously on the Puma Evo Power series, where it has this kind of cutout in the back of the heel to relieve pressure on the Achilles tendon and overall increase comfort. And you'll notice at the very back, there is this little section that's an elasticated mesh that is totally soft. It flexes very easily. You can see how much this collapses when I put pressure on it, and that's going to happen when you're actually playing in the boot. The issue is you can see how low the internal structure is. Where the bottom of my thumb is, that is the top of the internal heel counter, and what this creates is the shallowest fitting heel I think I've ever felt on a pair of top-end football boots, where your heel is more or less secure, but it always feels like it's on the verge of coming out, and it does make for a situation where you do seem to get more friction across the Achilles tendon rather than less. So it's a good idea. In theory, it should work quite well, and I'm not sure what they did differently from when Puma did this on the Evo Power line, but on the Evo Powers, it felt great, it fit great, it was very, very comfortable. It was actually a nice improvement, where on these, it just feels weird and awkward. I don't know how else to describe it. As far as the liner is concerned, they've used plenty of padding back here, and it has this really soft microfiber that I'm quite a big fan of. It feels very premium. The insole is also fully removable. I'll give you guys a quick look at that. Very standard in terms of having this soft lining material on the surface, and then made of this black foam that's actually very dense. It's a good quality insole compared to what a lot of brands are putting in their top-end football boots, so kudos to Lotto for that. Which brings us to the sole plate and stud pattern that I think is fantastic. They did a really good job with this. You'll notice the BFC branding here highlighted in neon yellow. This is actually a Pebax material, and it's basically a stiffener that runs from the heel, kind of flowing into the forefoot. It's injected into the base of the sole, but of course it reveals itself through the middle of the heel. BFC stands for Biomechanical Foot Control, and it's there basically as a stabilizer. It sounds much more fancy than it actually is. Nonetheless, this sole plate feels fantastic. The rest is nice and flexible through the forefoot, but it still has that little bit of stiffness to it, to where you get that kind of responsive spring back sensation. It's not overly mushy or anything like that. Very speed boot-esque in terms of its feel. And again, on point from a technicality standpoint with the big brands. I would say better than a lot of the stud patterns and sole plates you're gonna find from Nike and Adidas at the moment. Some stiffener bars through the middle. Their Punto Flex technology right there, which is just Lotto's thing. It's basically just a flex groove in the forefoot. Little toe pick studs at the very tip of the toe that I don't think do anything at all, but they sure do look cool. And you notice that the stud pattern is made up of these neon yellow studs, which are kind of like these hybrid rounded studs, little triangular pieces that stick out. It kind of reminds me of a Beyblade or something like that. For those of you that were into that as a kid, I was. It also has these chevron bladed studs kind of in between to give you as much kind of bite as possible. So it is kind of this hybrid of rounded and bladed studs worked into one pattern. Works really nicely, offers really aggressive traction, and in general, this sole plate and stud pattern, it's very well designed and uses quality materials, which is pretty much all you can ask for. Which brings us to the weight, where unsurprisingly, given how high quality everything is from what is now technically a lesser known brand, the boots are very light. In a size 9 US, and I'll explain why that is in just a second, you can see that the boots weigh in at 7.5 ounces, the equivalent of 213 grams, which puts it in the same weight range as most top-end boots, most top-end speed boots for that matter. Could they be a little bit lighter? Absolutely, but considering how soft the upper is and how solid the sole plate construction is as well, I don't think you're gonna have any issues with the weight of the Maestro 4. So here they are on feet, and honestly, I'm really impressed with what Lotto have done here. The materials of the upper, the general shape, the volume, they got everything right. The boots feel really good. My gripe is with the heel, where this Adapto-Fit technology that they have going on here, you can even see with my Pure Grip socks how much of the back of my heel is exposed compared to other football boots. It's just cut very shallow, and because of the lack of structure at the very back part here where it actually has some stretch to it, it kind of feels like your heel is constantly moving a little bit. It's stretching the back of the football boot, and it's not necessarily an issue where my heel is sliding, especially when you have the added grip from something like Pure Grip socks, but it is just a concerning sensation that feels abnormal in comparison to just about any other football boot that you can buy. I'm personally not a big fan of it, but I don't necessarily think it's a deal breaker when it comes to the Maestro as a football boot option in general. If what I'm describing doesn't sound that bad to you, then I don't think you'll have too many issues with the heel, but I definitely wish they would have gone for something a little bit more traditional. Other than that though, everything about these feels fantastic. I like the nice deep lacing system, the structure through the midfoot, I think they got just right. It's secure without squeezing your feet uncomfortably. The material through the forefoot is soft, it's flexible, the sole plate feels really solid under feet. The boots are very well rounded in pretty much every aspect except for the heel construction. Speaking of the heel, I did mention Pure Grip socks. I'm wearing them right now in black. They are the most affordable grip socks on the market, available at just $14.99 a pair in a wide variety of colors. If you're interested in trying some for yourself, the website to go to is puregripsocks.com. That'll be linked down below. As far as fit is concerned, specifically the width, these are definitely going to be wide enough for just about anybody. I think they got the shape just right, and the materials have that little bit of stretch to them as well. So even if you do have wider feet, I think these will fit everybody quite comfortably. And then as far as sizing is concerned, these definitely do run half a size big. So I would definitely recommend going down half a size in order to achieve the best possible fit. I am wearing these in a size 9 US rather than my usual size 9.5, and that's because initially I brought these in my normal size and they were just way too long. So if you are looking to get a pair for yourself, going down half a size is definitely what you should do. So like I said at the start of the video, they got 95% of it right. It's just that last 5%, and a very important 5% at that, in the heel, where the boots just have this weird design quirk that I think has too much of an impact on the fit and overall comfort. Had they just gone with a traditional heel construction, the boot would have been infinitely better, and legitimately something that I would be able to recommend not just as a pair of Lotto football boots, but as a great alternative to pretty much any option on offer from the big brands at a much lower retail price. I don't want to say that you should avoid these entirely, because I'm sure there's some people that'll watch this video, hear what I'm saying, think I'm exaggerating, and buy the boots and be totally happy with them. But based on my own personal experience, at least how they fit my feet, the heel for me is a bit of a deal breaker for these. So what I'm really hoping for with the Lotto Maestro 5, if they do that, is just a traditional heel construction. They don't need to change anything else, and we'll have a really good football boots on our hands, on our feet. Anyways, guys, that's it for my review. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to support it with a like. Again, if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, you can click the first link down below. That's going to take you to the review page on my website, where you'll be able to pick them up below their normal retail price. If you have any questions, as always, leave them down below in the comment section and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you. If you're not subscribed to the channel already, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.